and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be tie-dyeing, and I've got these kits and I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to use all the colors, but I have something in mind. And I have all this wet white material, or like have all these styles here, and they're all, most of them are plain cotton and some of them are mixed with a little bit of polyester, and I've been gathering from the thrift shop, I've been gathering from the sales racks. I'm just hoping that it's going to be really, really good. So yeah, I'm just going to set up my workspace now, get my gloves on, get everything covered in plastic. I've got the tie-dye, I've got some yarn, I've got some rubber bands, I've got this extra metal tray and a little, I don't know what this is called, so I can put my garments on top of here and then use the paint without it getting everywhere. And now I've got this in the thrift shop as well, so I have this that is just for tie-dyeing, and I don't have to worry about cooking some chicken in the blue dye later, luckily. So I'm excited to get started.
And hi, welcome to the narrating part. This is me at a very high speed getting my worktop ready, and I'm doing that with some plastic on my tabletop. And then I've got my metal pan, I've got my dyes, I've got all the clothes that is pre-washed and is still rather wet. I'm just sorting it, trying to see what's what and what I'm going to do with the different things. I've got lots of trousers, I've got lots of jumpers, lots and lots of socks, and a lot of t-shirts as well. So right now this is just me being super excited and having big dreams about all the great things that I'm going to do with the tie-dye, seeing how I can prepare it and get it perfect and ready for my plans. And this is the socks. I'm trying to tie them up in different ways, basically just putting elastic rubber bands on them quite tight. Some I'm kind of twisting and turning and folding. Others I'm rolling, and yeah, just using elastic bands. I didn't really go for any specific method with this. I just wanted to see some different things, did a lot of twisting, did a lot of turning, and then basically just thought that yeah, I'll see what happens. And I also kind of went dry on ideas for this, so I actually ended up not doing all the socks but saving some of them. But yeah, some popsicle sticks as well, just folding up the socks a couple of times and then adding some popsicle sticks to see if that could do something fun. And now for the first big top, so like a t-shirt top with long sleeves, and I'm doing a swirl, so I'm getting one place on the top and then just swirling from there, and then lots of rubber bands on, lots of elastic bands. And basically what I'm trying to do is just not start the swirl right in the center or right on one of the boobs, because I'm afraid that's going to look weird. So I'm starting the swirl at the kind of bottom of the top over to one side, and that might be a little bit boring because I'm doing it the same way on a lot of them, but it has worked out that way well in the past, so that's why I'm just continuing doing it like that. Yes, and I'm super focused, and it's really cool. I'm in my zone here, I'm creating, I'm preparing, and it's great. And remember, this part, you don't have to wear gloves for this part, because you're not touching the dye yet, so this is basically just the wet cotton, and that's fine without dye. So this, I'm doing like a long fold, like a harmonica, and then doing some rubber bands along the way, so it doesn't turn into like a bullseye, but it's just a long roll and then rubber bands on different places. And what am I going to do with this one? Yes, I'm doing a harmonica fold this way, but the other way, so horizontally and not vertically like the other one. And just trying out some different things here. I'm not too fussy about what to do, because in my experience, they all end up pretty cool. And that's actually a bullseye, where I take a little corner. Again, I try not to make it like right in the center or on the boob, and then just put some string around. Just was trying to do something a little different, not just use the rubber band. So bullseye, and just adding string all the way down. And actually, in hindsight, I could have put more string on, because this was just one string, And if you add a little bit more string, you get a clearer line, and that could also have looked good. So I'll probably do that next time, more string. And what am I going to do with this one? Another bullseye. So find a space and make that into like the top pointy bit, and then just fold the rest of it back. And lots of string. The Caroline of the past sends a message to Caroline of the future to add double string next time. And another harmonica fold, and this time I'm going to try to use popsicles. And popsicle sticks, sorry. I actually ended up moving these popsicle sticks a little bit before I dyed it. You can see that later in the video. And I'm sorry if you can hear some weird voices on this video. It's because my kids are being homeschooled, and they actually got off because it's the end of the day, but they've been so fed up just sitting in their rooms doing homework, so now they're playing and they can't get enough of playing, which is of course awesome. But yeah, I'm sorry if you can hear too many weird sounds in the background. I just want to tell you that everything is all right. They're just having fun. And now a big jumper, and this was quite thick. I mean, this material is really thick, so I wanted to do a crumbly effect where I just crumble it and then try to put elastic bands on. And it's like, it could be really cool with some huge elastic bands. It must be possible to get that, or you could of course also use some string and just kind of wrap that around. And now there's another jumper which is a lot thinner in the material, so as you can also see when you crumble it up, it looks it is much smaller in the area when you actually crumble it, compared to the other one who took up a lot of space. Yes. And trousers, sweatpants, crumbling again. This is such a fun technique because you just kind of get to mash fabric up and make it all wrinkly. And yeah, another jumper. Oh yeah, see, I'm trying here at the same time while I'm doing all this, I'm trying to keep track of what was I going to make, the colors, and some of this was actually for Christmas presents. So I was also thinking, oh, this size, that fitted my mum, and what color was it I was going to make for her, and did she want a crumbly one or did she want a swirl one? So yeah, that's I'm really trying to keep track of a lot of things at once, because as always I batch work, so I can't just do 3 tie-dye things at once. I have to make 500 tie-dye things in one go, because that's my style. Another crumbly set of sweatpants, but with again this huge thick material, and then the last set of sweatpants and again the thin material. So there's also a difference in how this fabric absorbs the paint afterwards, so you can see that when we get to go through that. And so yeah, I remember here my oldest daughter was kind enough to go and help me fill up the dye here. So these pre-filled tubes with powder, and then she went and got some water in them, and along the way I will be refilling these many times because I just can't stop. So first of all, I'm trying to remember what I wanted to do, and I'm taking, this is one of the thick ones, like the thick jumper I think it is, or it's a thick pair of sweatpants, but basically I want to make a nice set, but this material just absorbs it kind of in a weird way. The color doesn't spread. I don't know, I guess if I had it much wetter, if I'd like had just like dipped the jumpers or the sweatpants in water and not really rinsed them off, it would have spread a lot more. So I would definitely like to try that again some other time if more white clothes exist in the world in the thrift shops, but I don't think so, because I think I've bought it all up according to the huge pile of stuff that I've got. But anyways, I really like the Japanese tie-dye colors, the dark blue ones, so this is what I'm going for here, trying to, I ordered a lot of extra blues actually because I just think that is so pretty. So lots of blue here. And then adding it into a plastic bag. Some guides say to use cling film, but that is just too hard to do when you're standing there with dye on and with plastic gloves on. That doesn't really work. Yeah, and this is my fancy trick, just to dip it in the metal tray to absorb the extra dye. Yeah, just a little bit more. Can you tell that I have a hard time finding out when to stop? But I just also remember looking into the little folds here of the crumbly effect and just being a little bit worried, because it didn't really seem to have a lot of color. Like inside it was still some huge white patches. So that's why I'm just trying to do some more with a lighter blue now, and what I put in the bag I'm trying to do again, because yeah, I don't know how to stop, and just using that piece of clothes as a cloth, tying and not on the bag. And that is the first one down. Next one, yes, and I'm also using one of my tie-dye Bullseye projects as a cloth on the actual table. This is the jumper. No, this is not a jumper. This is a pair of trousers that I wanted to do, and I'm using the black. It absorbs quite directly into the fabric. Again, it doesn't spread out a lot. And I could have stopped there, and I kind of wish I had, because that had been a cool look. And now I'm just mixing some. I'm mixing some red dye with some black dye. Added some water. That's where I just went, because I wanted to make like this dark purple, dark maroon color. And yeah, well, they look quite nice now at the end after they've done. So that was a good solution. But I did a lot of mixing here. There were a lot of colors that weren't in the set that I wanted. And you can also see that's me emptying a bottle of that color. So I'm refilling a lot of times, which also makes the colors not that saturated, but a little bit lighter. So, oh my God, I had so much fun mixing colors. That was just great. Back again from getting some water. I was hoping to mix some water in the rest of the black dye to get a more grey color, and that actually also ended up being the result. So that was cool. And here it just looks, looks like a proper grown-up tie-dye, not just like rainbow, yellow, green, blue, purple, but actually a little bit darker. And again, just using my trousers as a cloth, and into a bag that goes. Ready for the next one. And this is one of the harmonica ones. This wasn't a Bullseye one as far as I can remember. Just trying to do that with blue, kind of in every other one. And there will be a lot of these where I could have stopped earlier, but I just keep going. So what you see here is actually not at all what it ends up being, which is kind of fun, because I just don't stop, do I? I wanted to make some little sprinkles, which I perhaps regretted a bit when I did it, because like orange sprinkles on blue, it just makes it look kind of stained. And then taking a Bullseye one, yellow, that could mean that I'm actually trying to do it proper kind of rainbow Bullseye. And as you can see, there are lots of little specks, which is because I don't clean up properly after each one. So there will just be little specks of colors in different places. And I'm also spilling a lot of color here, I can see when I look at it from the top. Just mixing. I'm trying to make a darker red, like a purpling red, I think. Adding some blue. And then just refilling it with some water. And that didn't really work out, so I'm just putting blue there instead of purple, because I didn't get the right color that I wanted. Thinking. I'm doing my little thinking dance, you can tell. Just checking out what I have. Mixing again. Now doing the one with the little popsicle sticks, and I've mixed this brown color. And I guess it's not like a color you look at and think, wow, that's beautiful. But this actually ended up being one of my favorites because it's just so different and neutral and natural, and I really like that. And definitely the popsicle stick effect was really, really cool. I'm going to try to do that again instead of just using rubber bands or yarn or thread. That goes into a bag. I'm closing it up as well, deciding that no more is going to happen to that one. And I'm mixing so much, but I was also trying to be so careful to not use all of my dyes. I didn't fill up the water in the bottles in the entire set because I wanted to save some of it. So just testing the color here to see how it is on my little testing cloth, and now deciding which one to do. And this is the jumper that I actually made for my husband for Christmas, that I ended up putting a little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles embroidery patch on, and that turned out really cool. And he says he likes it, and I'm sure he does. And it's just those really nice colors like this petrol blue and some grey, black, and yeah, it's you know, you can't really go wrong with those colors because they match so well together, and they're still not too shouting psychedelic tie-dye in your face. They're quite nice to look at. Maybe I should have just gotten an entire set just of only black and blues, and then just done tie-dye with those colors. Just doing some sprinkles, some specks with some red and yellow. And that also turned out nice. Kind of makes it easy for him to hide food stains on it. Isn't that nice? Getting a bag ready, and in it goes. And it's easier to do some when you already have the bag on it, because then you don't risk dye ending up everywhere. And I'm just, all those little folds, I'm just trying to get some extra in there. Can you tell that it's hard for me to stop? It really is. And now I'm just doing a lot of socks. And the reason why I haven't closed up the bags yet is just because I know that I'm going to do quite a few socks with the same type of colors, and then I thought I could put the socks in the same bag as the other things that are matching in colors, because then if they rub off on each other, it's not going to be that big of a problem. It's worse if you make something that's yellow or bright green or something, and then you add some black to it. That would be silly to mix those two types of shades, but for this it's fine. Mixing some more, adding some yellow to blue, and we all know what that does. And by this point in the video, so much water has been added to those bottles. I think it's alright when you have used some of it to fill a bit of water in, but I have filled water in bottles with just a tiny bit of color left, so these colors will be quite diluted and not saturated at all. So I wanted to make something that looked cool and pink, and when I did this, I just thought that it looked like a murder scene, which wasn't the plan, especially with just the red color on. And that also turned out quite pink. That kind of washed out, so it diluted a bit and got a bit brighter, a little bit lighter, so it does seem more pink now, at least in my eyes. But I just wanted a cool set. I wanted another cool set because I already made a blue set, but it was my plan to make some cool home loungewear sets, and just adding blue specks because I can't stop. That's right. It's amazing that I still have clothes left over, isn't it? Anyway, this is a crumbly one that I'm trying to do a little bit more psychedelic. This ended up being a present for my mum, and it's super acidy, kind of proper psychedelic rave with the yellow and the green, and I'm going to do a bit more to it as well. So it's not just how it looks there. It doesn't end up quite as clean striped as this. But I love the mixing process, and I love how, it just often ends up a bit differently from what you want it to be. And I had a lot of yellow left over. So as you can see here, I'm adding yellow kind of not just where it's supposed to be yellow, but everywhere. And that's what makes it really acid ravers 90s great, in my mind anyways. And that tray is looking cool now as well. Now just doing a few at the same time. And you've got a really, really light blue. And that's because so much water has been added to it. It's basically just water, this one. There's hardly any dye left in that. But try to make like a pizza shape with the elastic rubber bands. And then you can kind of color every other little triangle one color, and then the other one's a different color. And that's what I tried to do here with blue and green. But I was a little bit disappointed about how light the blue was. But fear not, it does end up all right. And this is me really trying to use the colors that I have left wisely. Because I don't want to open another one and add more color, because I want to save them for something else. So sprinkling a bit on here, some speckles. And again, using my yellow, because I still have yellow left over. I haven't used that much yellow in this tie-dye video, so there's still yellow left. So now I've just been and refilled with water just to get the rest of the colors that I've got left, see what I have. And there's lots of water in these colors, and then I'm going to try to do the last bits. I found one with some blue, and that was great because I love blue. I'm just going to try to do another kind of neutral beigey one. Adding some green, and using my cloth here. Some very, very light green. A lot of water in this one, not a lot of a lot of dye, but it ends up so nice. It's so sweet. It's a long sleeved top for my oldest daughter, and it looks really, really sweet. So you can't always depend on what it looks like when you're doing it here, because here the colors just look very matte. They don't look that interesting, but it actually also turned out really, really nice. The colors don't all have to be super crazy for it to work. Now just using the leftover dye to create some socks. I'm thinking they might not be the prettiest socks in the world, but that's fun. Somebody's gonna get some green socks for Christmas. And this video is quite faster in speed, but this was still it was kind of quick when you have it all prepared, when you have everything folded and with rubber bands and everything's ready, you have it sorted in the piles. And of course I know that for most people you wouldn't make that much in one go, so you would maybe have not quite as many items, and then instead you would use more dye for each item, so they would be more colored through and through, which is a good idea. And this one just looks so nice here with the kind of very diluted blues, and these socks as well. Although when they're done, they kind of look almost like they've just been miscolored in the wash because the dye is so weak. And that was the one I made earlier, but I just put it off to the side because I wasn't quite sure. So it's quite clear blue, and I'm just using a lot of leftovers, opening the bottles, as you can see, just getting every last little bit of them out. Some speckles, some green off to the side. So what I have got left, I've got some green left that went into that one, so that's my last one. This is the cloth. This is the one that's just like the last mess. I'm using that to clean up everything with, and I will put it in the tray to make a green some kind of green there. And then I'm also adding the orange, because everybody knows that green and orange, that makes a weird combo. And because these colors are also quite diluted, it ends up being quite different when it comes out of the wash, but kind of just very neutral, not too busy. This one as well, just ended up doing something completely different with this. Didn't want the clear blue, decided to add some orange to it just to make it a bit more muted. This is me not wanting to waste any, just spending it all, throwing it in there. This looks dark, but in reality it ends up being quite lighter after being done because there's hardly any dye left in that. So it doesn't colour very much. Perhaps when you see the end results you won't even be able to see what it is. This is the fun part. They've been in the bags for 24 hours, a bit more, and now I'm in the tub trying to fold out all these out. Be careful that you don't have any rubber bands that end up in your drain, and then just rinsing them and looking at them, seeing what they end up being is just the most fun. And be sure, of course, to wash dye off your feet afterwards if you do this. You can also do it if you don't have a tub. You can do it in a big tub or in the shower, or I've found that the dye doesn't stick to porcelain, but I don't know if that's just our tub that is specifically magnificent in that way, or if that's normal. Yeah, this part is so much fun. Just to see what they look like, folding it out. So yeah, I take off all the rubber bands at first, and then afterwards I unfold the things to properly enjoy what they look like. This is just the best thing. All that waiting time, and you think, wow, that was so pretty. Yeah, I'm not going to show you all of this because there were so many bags of different colorways, so this is just some of them. And a lot of rinsing in that water, and then of course afterwards I put it in the wash, and I do that also with colors that are similar, so I don't do 20 different washes. I think I had 3 quick washes on with all that, and I just gathered the colors that were kind of similar, so if they rubbed off on each other it would be, yeah, it wouldn't be a catastrophe at all. And now the time has actually come to take a look at all the cool pieces of clothing that came out of it. All the socks, my husband's nice jumper, the tie-dye explosion, the green one. We have the acid wash jumper, another green one with a bit of blue, a green and green one, a blue and quite grey one, and my favorite neutral, big wide one with the popsicle sticks. That was the blue and orange. And another one with muted colors. Looks a bit of a mess, but also cool. A green and white, very, very mute colors. And this is the cool set that is just very, very white with a bit of blue. And the pink set that looked quite red and purple originally. And the last piece of trousers with grey and the kind of homemade maroon colors. So much fun, and it was just a pleasure to do, and I can't wait till the next time I'm going to do tie-dye. Next time I'm probably not going to be diluting the colors quite as much. I'll probably let myself actually use a bit more dye, a bit more of the powdered coloring, because some of the colors did wash away a little bit too much perhaps. It still looks nice, and it's a different style, but next time I will definitely let the colors have a bit more vibrance by not diluting them as much. So thanks for watching. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do tie-dye another time, and I hope you're gonna follow me here on YouTube and give this video a like or a comment if you have anything to add. Bye.